A special hello to those of you watching from home and from the White House.
All week long, Rosie O'Donnell has been poking fun at President Trump. She's been guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live, and the two have a long history of clashing. Now the network that airs the show is clashing with the Trump administration in federal court. ABC is suing the Federal Communications Commission for allegedly violating its First Amendment rights. Network officials say they're worried the FCC could force its stations off the air because of the content critical of the administration. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr calls the lawsuit meritless, adding, quote, holding a broadcaster accountable to their public interest obligations and statutory obligations is not a violation of their First Amendment rights. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now. So what are ABC and its stations' First Amendment rights?
So they do enjoy First Amendment rights, but they are limited in a different way than if ABC was a newspaper. We're talking actually not about the network, but about the local stations that have these licenses from the FCC. Now, these licenses are based on the idea that the broadcast spectrum is a scarce resource. And so unlike a newspaper or an online outlet, the government has some control over who gets the scarce resource and who doesn't. But that doesn't mean you give up all of your First Amendment rights. So the idea is, as you know, the First Amendment protects us not against each other, but private groups and people, including local broadcasters, against the government. We know in this case, the government has a little bit more power than is typical because they can say, you get a license, you don't. But it can't be based on we don't like what you say, as we just saw with that statement from Brendan Carr. It has to be based on what's in the public interest.
So what discretion does the FCC have to renew and revoke licenses?
So they do have discretion, but the key here when it comes to the First Amendment is that it should be exercised based on the specifics of the statute when it comes to when a license is granted and when it is up for renewal. And does the FCC have some discretion? Yes, but again, only for these very broad categories of does the license continue to be, does granting the license continue to be in the public interest? The key, again, is that you don't want the government making decisions because they don't like editorial decisions, because they don't like viewpoints, because they don't like the subject matter of what any local station is airing.
So that tells me that that's something that ABC is going to argue.
Absolutely. ABC is going to argue that they are now being looked at for these early renewals, which is highly unusual, and that the FCC has started the process of looking at the early renewals specifically because they don't like what people are saying on these stations, not because the ABC stations violated a part of the FCC statute or because what they're airing is no longer within the public interest. But ABC is going to say, you targeted us because of the content of what was aired, the viewpoints of what people espoused on our air. And that's where I think they do have a very good First Amendment argument.
Jessica Levinson, thank you.